all probability is calculated the same. Theoretical probability is just a case where an experiment isn't conducted and we use knowledge about our situation to figure out what the probability would be. So an example, if we have a bag of marbles, we got 4 blue, 6 green, 3 yellow, and we're drawing them at random from a bag. So what's the probability of drawing a green one? So to find the probability, remember, it's what we want, that's a G for green, over the total. So what we want is green. We know there are 6 green marbles, right? It tells us that right here. The total amount of marbles we have to add to find, right? There's 6, 4, and 3. So 6 plus 4 plus 3. If we add them together, there are 13 in total. Now when we write probability, we do it as a decimal. So the probability is 0.461, but because that 1 has a 5 to the right, we round up. So 0.462. Now with the second one, we want the probability of a yellow. So it tells us there's 3 yellow. So remember, that's just the notation saying the probability of pulling a yellow marble. There are 3. There's 13 marbles. So we divide. Now it's 0.2307, so that's 7 rounds the 0 up to a 1. So 0.231 is the probability that a yellow marble is pulled. And the last one with blue, so the probability of pulling a blue, there are 4 total, or there's 4 total blue marbles. The total amount in the bag, there are 13. So we would do 4 divided by 13, 0.3076, that's 6 rounds up to 7, so 0.308. Now looking at these 3 examples, the green one is going to have the highest probability of happening, so most likely out of these 3, because the probability is closer to 1. So the closer a number is to 1, the more likely it's going to happen. The least likely to happen is the yellow, because it's the furthest away from 1, or it's the closest to 0. So probability closest to 0. Now we're going to keep calculating probability. So if we have this situation down here, we're talking about a deck of cards. We know that half of a deck of cards is red, so we can say the probability is 1 out of 2, or 0.500. Now black, half the deck of cards is black, so we can say the same thing, half, or 0.500. Remember, we divide 1 divided by 2, we get 0.5. Probability always has 3 decimal places, so that's why we added the 2 zeros. Now if we're talking about the probability of finding a jack, there are 4 jacks in a deck of cards. So what we want are the jacks. There's 4 of them. The total number of cards, there are 52. So we're going to do 4 divided by 52. So we get 0.0769. The 9 rounds the 6 to a 7, so it's 0.077. Now the last one's trickier. We want to know the probability of picking a face card. So face card is a king, a queen, or a jack. Card that has a face on it. We know there's 4 of each card. So the total number of face cards is 12. The total number of cards in a deck are 52. What we want are the face cards, which is 12, so they go on top. Total amount of cards goes on the bottom, which is 52. Put that in the calculator. We get 0.2307. 7 rounds the 0 up to a 1, so it's 0.231. So looking at the probability of pulling a jack versus pulling a face card, the face card is more probable because 0.231 is closer to 1. The jack is less probable because it's the probability 0.077 is closer to 0.